Some of you seem to be having difficulty with the homework on frequency distributions under Module 2. So I want to kind of walk through it. The question itself is actually matching, but the first thing you have to do is to create the corresponding frequency distribution. So this is one of the problems, and it says use the following raw data to complete the grouped frequency distribution. Match the correct number on the right to the correct question on the left. Okay, so it even tells you in the instructions that you're going to do matching. The questions are on the left, and your choices or your matches, the answers are on the right. And you're given a data set of cereal calories, and you have 32 values. Now, to save a little bit of time, I already did the breakdown and did the tallies. But you go through and you determine how many are in each class or each group. And then you also have to convert those to decimals for your, it should say relative frequency. There's a typo there. Okay, so let me see if I can correct that typo here so you'll see the difference. Where it says frequency distribution, and I'm going to try to get my pen. Okay, where it says frequency distribution, that should really be relative frequency. And in these problems, relative frequency is written as a decimal. It can actually be written as a decimal, a fraction, or a percentage. Remember, to find the relative frequency, you take the frequency divided by the total, and that gives you your decimal value. If you want it to be a percentage, you multiply it by 100%. Now, again, I kind of went ahead and did the numbers here to kind of shorten the length of the video. So there are 7 values between 80 and 109, 8 values between 110 and 139, 1 between 140 and 169, 5 between 170 and 199, 9 between 200 and 229, and 2 between 230 and 259, which gives us a total of 32 values. And then I converted all those to the appropriate decimals, rounding to 4 places, because I noticed when I looked at the answer choices that they had 4 decimal places in most cases. So I'm writing those down. And your relative frequency in decimal form should total to 1 or 100%. Okay. Now, the letters are there just to kind of help you, because the question then references the letter. So, for example, and I'm going to try to highlight these, and it's important to pay attention to the words. The first question says, what is the relative frequency? Okay, so it's important to note that you're looking for the relative frequency of the second class, which corresponds to box or square D. So square D, I realize that it's 0.25. So I'm going to scroll down on my paper. Okay, and here are my choices, and the choice that corresponds to 0.25 is number 9. So on the drop down menu in D2L, and let me toggle over there. Okay, so mine's in a different order. So what is the frequency of the 4th class? So let me see if I can find what is the relative frequency for the 2nd class. And we decided that that was option number 9. So in this little box, I'm going to choose option number 9, because that number 9 is the answer of 0.25. Okay, so it may be easier to kind of create your frequency distribution first and then go through the questions. And again, it's important that you pay attention to whether you're being asked for relative frequency or just frequency. So, like for example, the second question here on my example says, what is the relative frequency of the fifth class, which corresponds to box J, which is 0.2183. So if I look at my list of answers, 0.2183, whoops, maybe I wrote it down wrong. I wonder if that's 2.8. Let's see. Did Miss Ralston make a typo error there? Very well could have. 9 divided by 32 should be 2813. I'm sorry, Miss Ralston made a boo-boo. Well, I'm trying to erase here. My computer's not being cooperative. Okay, so that should be, because I 0.2813. So that corresponds to answer number 12. Okay, that corresponds to answer number 12. So I would go over, and again, if I find that question, what is the relative frequency of the fifth class? And that corresponds to number 12. So it's a matching, guys. And the best thing to do is to complete your table first, then go back and answer the questions. Again, the questions, in the way they're set up in D2L, the questions are on the left, and your corresponding choices are on the right. The bold numbers are what you choose from the drop-down menu. Okay, I hope that helps with this particular assignment.